ourselves here that fats can also be metabolized. Fats are actually much more energetically efficient than carbohydrates and proteins. Fats provide 9 calories per gram, whereas carbohydrates and proteins only provide about 4 calories per gram, which simply means that you would have to eat less fat to meet your energetic demands than you would for carbs and proteins. So they're the most energy stored in our biomolecule. Now, just to remind ourselves of the structure of fats, triglycerides have those 3 fatty acid tails and that 1 glycerol backbone. So lots of carbohydrates, lots of carbons involved in triglycerides, and those can enter cellular respiration at various stages of the process. Now, most of our triglycerides are stored in adipocytes, which are our fat cells, and they can be metabolized based upon need. So let's look at fat metabolism. So there's 2 big umbrellas or 2 big categories of fat metabolism. So we know our triglycerides can be broken down to their 2 components via the enzyme lipase. We kind of talked about lipase as an example of an enzyme last time. And that will break it down to its 2 further parts, glycerol and fatty acids. Now the glycerol can be converted to dihydroxyacetone phosphate, and that can enter glycolysis. So glycerol can produce a byproduct that can directly enter glycolysis, and that will yield us about 20 ATP when it's fully metabolized. On the other hand, the 3 fatty acid tails can enter beta oxidation. So this is another process that will yield some more ATP. And we basically break down, we know that those fatty acid tails have lots of carbons in them. And we can break down that molecule 2 carbons at a time. And for every 2 carbons that we take from that fatty acid tail, we yield about 17 ATP from each of those 2 carbons. We basically can enter at the acetyl-CoA stage of cellular respiration into the Krebs cycle, or we can generate NADH and FADH, which can directly shuttle electrons to the electron transport chain. So basically, this is how we can take fats, kind of chop them down to their smaller pieces, and enter them at various stages of cellular respiration to be metabolized to liberate energy, okay? It's kind of like, think about you have a fire, a large fire, and you can throw different things on that fire to keep it burning to generate heat. So you can throw some wood, you can throw some paper, maybe some cardboard boxes, but basically fats are going to yield us much more energy because they're more energetically efficient, okay? We can break them down into 2 smaller parts and then put those 2 smaller parts in various areas, okay? All right, lastly, there's protein metabolism. So proteins can also be broken down into amino acids, and then via a process called deamination, we can grab the amino group off of proteins, and then we can generate keto acids, and those can be sent into the Krebs cycle as acetyl-CoA or pyruvate, okay? So basically, deamination takes off the amino group. The amino group is then converted to urea, which is excreted through the kidneys, and this is why a high-protein diet is not the best diet, especially if you have kidney disease or kidney problems. High protein in the diet really taxes the kidneys because of this deamination process. So the amino group that is converted to ammonia is converted to urea, which must be excreted through the kidneys. And so the more protein you eat, the more work you put on your kidneys, essentially. And then the other part of that, the keto acid we mentioned, can be converted to pyruvate or acetyl-CoA, which both of those can shuttle off into the Krebs cycle and continue on cellular respiration that way.